this activity, as a follow-up to our video on Boone Creek, we will work on downloading and going over some of the basic ways to use Google Earth Pro for the desktop. During the rest of our semester, we will be using Google Earth Pro for several activities, most notably our landscape reconstruction project for mapping and measuring distances that we can no longer do in person on campus. So to begin, let's open your preferred browser and head on over to www.google.com/earth/. You can see that already in my URL bar here. Now I'm going to presume that you're doing so on either a Windows PC or a MacBook. If you are using a Google Chrome OS based laptop, you'll need to use the browser-based version of Google Earth. I will show you at the end of this video how to navigate the browser-based version of Google Earth. But for the most part, this video is going to focus on downloading and some basic ways of using and navigating the interface of Google Earth for either PC or Mac. Now, right now I'm on a MacBook, and the process for downloading Google Earth is relatively comparable, and certainly the interface between PC and Mac is also very similar. So let's get started. Once you've gone in your favorite browser to google.com/earth/, you'll see this screen. We need a version of Google Earth that was released by Google several years ago for the desktop. It has been updated since then, but it's not the preferred method that Google wants you to use. Google wants you to use the web interface version. I'd rather you use the desktop version. So to find that desktop version, go here to Earth Versions, click Earth Versions. Once the new page loads, you will see three ways of accessing Google Earth. Google Earth on the web, Google Earth for your mobile phone, and this link will basically take you to either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store to download a mobile version, a much more limited version of Google Earth. That's not going to work for our purposes. And then Google Earth Pro on desktop. If you click Google Earth Pro on desktop, it'll bring you down the page to then select Download Google Earth Pro on desktop. Click that, accept the license agreement and download, and then give it a moment, and your download will begin. Now, if you're downloading Google Earth Pro for desktop on a PC, the file you are currently downloading is a self-extractable .exe file. If you are downloading Google Earth Pro for desktop on a Mac, you'll be downloading a .dmg file. Once your download is completed, depending on the browser that you're using, and yes, I am using Microsoft Edge on a MacBook. Anyway, once your download is completed, depending on your browser, you'll either be able to launch that downloaded installer file from the browser, download tab, or download list, or you'll need to go to your downloads folder and select the file by double-clicking it, and a Finder window appears. Double-click the Install Google Earth Pro 7.3.2.5776 package by double-clicking it, and that'll begin the installation process. If you're on a Mac, because this did not come from the Mac App Store, Apple will throw your installation process through a few extra unnecessary hoops. Now we are in the Google Earth installer, whether on a Mac or a PC. Roughly similar. Here on the Mac, I'm continuing, and then I am selecting Install and letting it write files. We'll come back in just a moment once it's done. Installation was successful on my Mac. If for whatever reason, whether you're on a Mac or a PC, and the installation was not successful or failed, go back to google.com/earth, download another copy of the installer. Most likely something went wrong in your download process. Now, once you're done, you're returned back to your desktop. On a PC, click your Windows Start, and if you're on Windows 10, Google Earth Pro should appear at the top of your installed applications list. Otherwise, scroll down through your Start menu, and you should find Google Earth Pro. If you're on a Mac, click your Launchpad, and what you should find will be right here, Google Earth Pro. All right, how to navigate the user interface for Google Earth Pro. When you start Google Earth Pro for the first time, and subsequent times, if you don't click the radio button I'm going to show you in a moment, you will get startup tips. And when you're first using Google Earth Pro and unfamiliar with the software, it might be helpful to allow these tips to keep appearing whenever you start the software. If you don't like startup tips, simply click here and uncheck that radio button and then click closed. First thing is, if Google Earth Pro did not start in a full screen window, simply grab it, and if you're on a PC, just move it to the top of your screen and it will automatically resize. If you're on a Mac, that depends on what version of Mac OS you're running, or if you have an add-on, by the way, in case you don't like how Macs don't have auto resize, depending on which side of the screen you drag something to. Here's a software recommendation, and that is Better Snap Tool. You can find it in the Mac App Store. Download it, set permissions. It will ask you for your user password and to set permissions in settings for the app to manage these application windows on your Mac. And then what that allows you to do then is have a similar functionality to a PC, where I can grab this not full-sized window and put it up here, just drag it up to the top, and get a preview of how it would look full screen. So let's take a look at the interface. Over here is the Places section. You can save particular places on the Earth to your Places section. Consider it like a bookmarks menu. So you could bookmark Boone, you could bookmark your hometown, you could bookmark the greatest city on Earth, Santa Fe, New Mexico, or, well, feel free to argue. Below that, there are layers. These are pre-made layers that are available for you to look at in Google Earth. There's also a search bar. We're going to come back to that in a moment. On the right-hand side in the main view window, Google Earth begins by showing you a satellite stitched together image of the globe and tries to orient it to whatever continent your IP address is broadcasting from. Over here are controls that will make much more sense once we've zoomed into somewhere on the map. This is an orientation view, this is a panning view, and this is a zoom in and zoom out slider. Once we've zoomed in, we'll pay a little more attention to the icons up here, particularly one icon right here, the measurement tool. That's the basic interface. Now, if you go to the search bar, we're going to type in our sometime, one-time, former home, Boone, North Carolina, and hit enter. And Google Earth's going to do a little bit of its magic. We're crashing from space down to Boone. And as you can see, it'll be a little bit blurry at first, depending upon your internet connection. Comcast in Knoxville, Tennessee has been pretty craptastic lately, as you may know if you saw my email update early in week 1. So here's Boone. As we can see, we can get to see the hill shades, the topography of the mountains and hills surrounding Boone. And in fact, you can see how Boone itself, the downtown area, from pretty much this point west on 321 as it heads towards Vilas, and then comes in King Street. Right here, that whole area of King Street, it's this low-lying portion of the Valley of Boone. Remember, if we zoomed out, don't do this, I'm going to just show you for a moment. We zoom out a little bit, what we get to see is basically central Watauga County pretty much sitting here like a table surrounded by higher and higher mountains over towards Carter and Ashe County, over here in Carter County, Tennessee, and Ashe County towards West Jefferson. You can see this kind of lower elevation that gets even more low around Boone. Let's say we kind of came in at this point. What we want to do first is we want to zoom into the ASU campus. To navigate around the map, you simply move your mouse cursor and click and drag, and drag down. There's Blowing Rock. There's Seven Devils and Sugar Mountain, Banner Elk, and the Elk Valley through here. Beech Mountain. So there you go. Now, if ever in navigating around you get lost and you're like, where am I? Somewhere it's called Mountain City, Tennessee. Where's that? And you don't know how to get back to your original Zoom site, in our case, Boone, North Carolina, that we zoomed into, simply click search again over here with Boone as your target destination, and Google Earth will bring you back to Boone. Okay? So, the first of our controls over here to worry about is the zoom in and zoom out slider. So we're going to click the plus arrow to zoom in just a little bit more. And notice what happened there. We went from a straight top-down view to a view that's actually a bit at an angle. Here below us we get to see, oh, there's Legends, there's the Daniel Boone Inn, there's 321 and Blowing Rock Road and King Street, there is the old Earth Fair before they went out of business. And by the way, they went out of business before the pandemic. So as you can see, we can zoom in and zoom out using this control bar. But the more we zoom in, notice what happened, we moved even more at an angle. So to deal with that, particularly when we want to measure things, what we're going to want to do is go up to this view bar. Notice how the view control has a north N, that stands for north, so basically we are looking to the north. And whenever we rotate around and change our view, we can click to the left, we can pan to the left, we can look to the right. It's kind of like we're floating here over that 321 Blowing Rock Road intersection. So we can rotate around, there's Legends again. But let's say we want to return to that north view, where north is at the top of our screen. Simply click the N, and Google Earth will reorient us. Now, we still have to deal with the fact that we're at angle here. So to deal with the angle, what we do is we click the down arrow on that view. That will realign us so that we are looking as top down as possible, and that is going to matter for our activities. All right, so I'm going to drag us over back to campus. There's Howard Street. There's the Hardin Council Cemetery. That'll be the subject of our next video for week 2, activity 1. Let's go back here, top of the Student Union, and we got Sanford Mall. So let's park ourselves right over Sanford Mall. So parked right over Sanford Mall, we can zoom in, but note as we start zooming in, we are going to introduce that angle view again. In fact, whoa! Look what happens if we zoom in too far. We get to see Google Street View integrated into Google Earth. When you get tired of wandering around via Google Street View, then we need to click Exit Street View. Let's get back to our top-down view. Oh, there's beautiful IG Greer. Let's do something with the interface. These are the last 2 things I want to show you. First is if you've noticed in the interface as I'm moving around my mouse cursor, I'm going to position it here over the ASU history teacher-student statue on Sanford Mall in front of Sanford Hall. Now look at the bottom right corner over here. I'm going to have to move my cursor to show you. Right here, Google Earth. Below that, look at this information. This shows you the date of the satellite imagery in the current view screen. So what you're seeing here is from 2013. But next to that, as I move my mouse cursor around, you see those numbers? Those are the longitude and latitude coordinates, the north and east degrees, arc minutes, arc seconds. Coordinates is a coordinate grid, covers the Earth, and shows you specific coordinates for any location on the Earth's surface. The longitude and latitude will change as you move the mouse cursor. If you're wondering what the longitude and latitude are for the Aspire statue, 36 degrees, 12 minutes, 49.42 arc seconds north, 81 degrees, 40 minutes, 45.33 arc seconds west. And next to that, the elevation, 3,212 feet above mean sea level. Next to that, you'll see eye altitude. That tells you the altitude estimate of the camera, of where you're positioned in Google Earth. So for instance, if we zoom out, we're now at 4,044 feet. We zoom back in. Notice what's happening as I zoom in. It's pitching again. It's pitching again. So we got to go here, remember, and click down. And also, if I want to view magnetic north, I just click the north indicator again. So that's one important component, is to remember how to navigate your view, as well as how the longitude and latitude will change, as well as elevation will change as you move your cursor. One more tool that we are going to find critical in our use going forward is the measurement tool. Measurement tool is right here. It's a ruler icon. When we click it, a new pop-up window appears. And this window allows us several ways to measure what we see on the Earth's surface. The first and default measurement is a line. That's going to be fine for our purposes. We could also measure by using a path. We're not going to worry about a path. We could also measure area by polygons, and I'll show you this. We can measure by circles, thinking about how far things are in a given radius from a certain point. The ones that we really want to focus on here are line and polygon. So the first tool we're going to use for measuring distances is the line tool. As you can see here, measure the distance between 2 points on the ground. Now, before we try to measure the distance between 2 points on the ground, we have to change the unit of measurement from the default, and I don't understand why Google Earth does this, from the default of centimeters to, in our case, we're going to rely on feet. You can see the options, by the way: meters, kilometers, inches, feet, yards, miles, nautical miles, and smoots. I think for class we might want to measure everything in smoots, but we're going to do feet. Simply pick a point that you want to measure from. In this case, I'm going to demonstrate using the center of the Aspire statue. Click, and then as you can see, as you move your cursor, you have this yellow line that comes out behind your cursor, and here's the center of the ASU teaching statue. Clicking there, and that line tells us that we have 220.14 feet between the Aspire statue and the ASU teaching statue, moving at a heading of 77.96 degrees from magnetic north. Remembering magnetic north is off towards the cupola of Belk Library in this direction. So that's one form of measurement we can do. I'm going to show you another use for that line tool. So for instance, let's say in a future activity, you are going to need to draw in a building on the ASU campus. Here's D.D. Doherty, here's Belk Hall, and here's Smith Wright Hall. So if we want to measure the sides of Smith Wright Hall, we can use the line tool and just click a corner and measure to the next corner of the roof. And it looks like that is about 66.57, 67 feet. And then we could do the same thing. We can pick another corner, measure back up to that corner, and so we can see 134 feet. For drawing purposes, for measuring and drawing purposes, we could see that Smith Wright Hall is roughly 134 feet by 68, 69 feet. We could do this measurement of a building another way, and that's by area. And so to measure the area, we select polygon. Perimeter will tell us the area around the shape we're measuring, and the area will tell us the square feet or meters within the area that we're measuring. But we want to make sure these are both set to feet. So perimeter is in feet, area is in square feet. So let's do the same thing. Here's the corner. We're going to move up here to this corner. Then I'm going to move down here and click this corner. See how it's suddenly created a triangle because I've clicked 3 points. Now I can click this point, and it tells me that the perimeter of Smith Wright Hall is 398.54 feet, or 8,839 square feet. Okay? Keep those measurement tools in mind. We will be returning to those measurement tools in later activities. Oh yes, by the way, final piece. I mentioned at the start of the video I would show you the Google Earth controls for the web browser-based version of Google Earth. Here they are. So if you go back to www.google.com/earth/, load the page, and go to Launch Earth, you'll be brought to earth.google.com/web. Take a little bit to load. You'll get an introductory video page that you can click the X up here to close. And here you are. On the left, you have a number of controls. The control that we're going to worry about the most right now is the search icon. Though at the bottom, if you notice, there is a measure distance and area icon. Same functionality as our desktop Google Pro app. So here, we're going to click Search, Boone, North Carolina. And we're going to get the same kind of zoom in animation. Everything's going to be fuzzy and pixelated at first. And also over here, this box is annoying and in the way, but we can close it. Can click and drag around just like on the desktop app. Over here, we have the zoom control, zoom out, zoom in. So we're going to zoom in. You can see, to my eye, this is much more laggy than the desktop app. And mind you, the desktop app is also drawing on internet data when it refreshes, but nevertheless, the web interface apps just seems more laggy to me. Maybe if you have a better internet service provider than Comcast, you'll have a better experience. So over here, there's the Convocation Center, there's campus, there's Kidd Brewer Stadium. So we can do just like we did in the desktop app. Zoom in a little bit more. Also notice that one positive aspect of this web interface app is that the tilting tendency of the desktop app doesn't happen here. Although this web app is still stitching together the same satellite imagery, and we're getting that same degree of distortion that we saw in the desktop app. It's just two different interfaces to the same data set, basically. If we wanted to measure distances, just like on the desktop app, we can go here. There's the Aspire statue. There's the ASU History Teaching statue. Go over here on the left and click the Measure Distance and Area tool. And here we get the window that would be a dedicated toolbox window on the desktop app. So here we need to make sure that we have selected feet, and then we can select our starting point at the Aspire statue and select our endpoint at the ASU History statue, 222 feet. Now look what happens here. On the desktop app, when we select our endpoint and click, that's it. That's created the line. Our cursor is free and detached from the measurement component. However, on the web app, hey look, we still got this piece tracing us. So if we go over here and click the corner of that 1970s, 1980s addition to I.G. Greer, click there, it's still going. Let's go back to here at the Aspire statue, and notice it says close shape. Ha! So look what it's done. On the desktop app, we could select polygon to measure areas to give us a perimeter and a square feet or square meters area that shape covers. Here, it's simply integrated into the distance measurement feature. And of course, we can go over here. Right now, the area is in square meters. We can select square feet, and there you have it. And then if we want to start a new measurement, simply click Start New, and it erases that, and we can start over again. And similarly, over here on the bottom right corner, we get to see, now this is a little bit confusing than the desktop app, but basically what we're looking at is an elevation in meters. Yeah, not as helpful as the feet above sea level because it defaults to meters instead of feet. But there it gives us our camera eye height above the ground. Then it gives us our longitude and latitude coordinates. And then it gives us the elevation mean sea level in meters. So there you go. That's the only challenge you're facing. Hopefully that makes sense. Talk to you soon.